Hoy, I'm Daniel from the Student Project channel. Joining me today are Scarlett, Simon, and Ipo from our Student Project team. We are thrilled to have Paola with us, one of the talented translators from Brazil, who has been instrumental in making our project, The Adventures of Sassy and Friends, more accessible, and she will be here sharing her experiences and journey about her career, English, and culture. So let's dive in. Oi, Paula, como vai você? How are you?
Good and you.
Good, thank you.
I'm so glad to hear you're doing good. The first question is, what was the moment that made you realize you wanted to become a police officer?
Um, oh, the moment, being honest with you, was that I needed to change jobs for one that paid better. I worked as a teacher uh, in a private school, and in Brazil we have jobs paid by the government. They paid better. You have to apply for tests, and then if you pass, uh, you get hired. So that's what I did. I never wanted to become a police officer. I just wanted a better job that paid better. That's the truth.
Yeah. What's the funniest mistake you made while learning English, and how did you turn it into a learning experience?
Right. I made many mistakes. I remember some. Um, I remember when I was learning words, just vocabulary, and every time I wanted to say kitchen, I would say chicken, and I never knew the difference. Only when they corrected me. What else? And also words that are similar to words in English, I would pronounce them like we say in Portuguese, but they are differently pronounced in English, so they would correct me too. Um, yeah, there are so many mistakes, but mistake by mistake you learn, right? You shouldn't be afraid of mistakes. They help us to learn.
Yeah, that's hilarious. It's great that you can laugh about it now. Mistakes like that really do help us learn. Speaking of fun ways to learn, if you could create a super fun game to teach English, what would it be?
I really like games. Um, Creating one, I think I would make a question game. Like if there are four people, I would ask them to write questions down and ask each other the questions like two partners. Write down three questions about life, for example, and then ask each other the three questions. Write these questions down, write the answer down, and then later each one tries guessing what the answer is. And then for each correct answer, you get 3 points, for example. And then in the end, whoever has the highest scores wins. I
Would,
like games like sorry,
would you call it fofoca?
could be. We'll talk about your own life.
Fofoca your life?
Yes.
Fofoca is also chimosa or chimoso. And what were you saying? Sorry.
So yeah, that would be a game like try guessing your partner's answer and scoring.
Nice.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun game. It will make learning English so much engaging and enjoyable. You know, I think playing games is just a good way because you get to kind of interact and communicate with others. So it would be nice for them to understand between each other. So yeah, it will be a funny game. How has learning English given you a new perspective on a culture you previously knew little about?
Well, I think before learning English, I was really shy. introverted, narrow-minded, and knew nothing about other cultures. And when I went to Canada and started learning English, it gave me a new perspective on life. I think I opened my mind and I learned that culture is only different. It's not better, it's not worse than yours. It's just different. And if you're smart enough, you try to learn the best you can from the culture you were in, and also try to connect with people, try to make friends, try to learn new things. I really love cultures, different cultures, and I always try to get the best out of it. So I think it made me um, a person that can make more friends, talk more. Even that I'm shy, I'm really shy, but English helped me to improve that, to be less shy.
That's so true. It's incredible how language can bridge the culture gap and bring people closer together. Can you tell us about a day on the job as a police officer that made you feel particularly proud or accomplished?
Well, I work in the highways. So what I see most is car accidents. I'm always um, stopping the traffic. I'm always giving people tickets. I'm always um, controlling the traffic. That's what I do most of it in my job, and always trying to help people involved in accidents, in car accidents, and there are really bad ones. I also have to, uh, for example, if I see something wrong, like drugs in a car, I have to, or a gun, for example, I have to do something about it. But that's not uh, what was more important for me, I would say. Uh, Something that makes me really proud of myself in my job is when people tell me that they were never treated so well by a police officer before. They tell me, "You're so kind. You were so nice to me. Thank you." That's what makes my day. And there was this special day where sorry about that. There was a father who called me. He was desperate because his daughter got into the wrong bus. She was supposed to go home to her city of Matão. I think people has been there before, to Matão.
Mhm.
Uh, right?
Yes.
Yes. So she was supposed to go to Matão, but she got into the wrong bus and she was going to São Paulo. And she was a teenager, so she was freaking out because São Paulo is a big city, right? Um, and then her father called to the police base where I was, and then he was so desperate, he was getting his car and trying to go after her. And then I thought to myself, well, to go to São Paulo, you have to pass through Limeira, where I work, right? So if the bus left at 6 p.m., by 7 p.m., he will pass through here. So I can stop the bus because I have the power to, right? Wow. So I will stop the bus and I will get the girl out of the bus and I'll try to put her in the right bus. So this is what I do. I wait outside of the base and I expect the bus to pass, right? So when I turned the phone off, I ran outside and the bus was already passing. So I stopped the bus just on time. I got the girl out of the bus. She was crying. She was desperate. And she couldn't talk to the driver. I don't know why. She because there was this bus with the two, I forgot the people when you sit up and you sit down the bus and then the driver is down.
Oh,
How do you call that?
She was on the top level?
Yeah, she was on the top level, and she couldn't communicate with the driver. So she was crying, she was desperate, and then I got her out of the bus, and then I talked to the driver and asked him if he knew about another bus that would go to Matão. He knew about another bus that would pass through that highway like in 20 or 30 minutes. So I waited with her, and then another bus passed. I stopped the other bus and I put her into the bus, and she went to her city. I talked to her father again. I told him, "You wait her at this bus station because she will be there at, I don't know, 8 o'clock." And then he waited for her. She got home safe, and then he was like, "Thank you so much. I don't know how to thank you. I was so afraid that she would get lost in São Paulo. She didn't have money to come back. She got into the wrong bus. She couldn't talk to the driver." So yeah, that was a situation that I was happy to help someone with.
Nice.
It must be incredibly rewarding to know you've made such a meaningful difference. Where have you traveled and has English helped?
If English helped me when I travel, is that the question?
Where have you
Yeah.
traveled?
Well, okay. Where have I traveled?
And has English
Yes. I went to Canada. I stayed there for a year. That's where I learned English. Nobody knew Portuguese. Only like two or three people knew Spanish uh, from where I was, because it was a really small city. So yes, I had to know English to communicate. And also when I went to Thailand, I didn't know any Thai at all. And I was very surprised because it's a very small country, but everybody there speaks English. Like I thought to myself, well, it's a really small country. Uh, I would say that it's like a poor country too, like Brazil, but it's still people speak English. I was very amazed. Um, Also, the other countries around there, like Taiwan, Qatar, Myanmar, these places too, people spoke English all the time. And if I didn't know English, it would be really hard because I don't know any Asian language like Thai, Taiwanese, or it's really hard. So yes, English really helped. And I think anywhere you go, people speak English.
If you could give one piece of unconventional advice to someone learning English, what would it be?
I think to learn English, you have to practice, and to practice it, you have to find someone who speaks English. So find a friend who speaks English or a teacher and practice. Or if you have the money, go to a country where they speak English and stay there for at least 3 months. Find a job, practice, practice, practice. Uh, Watch things in English, listen things in English, um, read things in English, like live English, I think.
Yeah, that's a fantastic piece of advice. When you hit a wall while learning English, something new, what's your secret weapon to get back on track and stay motivated?
I think you have to change the approach of it. Maybe if you were trying by reading, try watching something. If it doesn't work, try listening to something. You have to find the learning approach which you learn better. Like for me, I learn better if I do exercises, if I do activities. For example, answering tests, or practicing conversations, or if I don't know a word, I will look for its synonym, or an example used with this word. or I will always change the way I'm studying. If I don't learn reading, I will watch something. If I'm not learning watching it, I will listen to it, or I will read about it. I will talk to someone about it. I will ask.
Like, I don't know if probably if you're watching a series and it is in English, you think it helps if we like put English subtitles, if it's, more helpful for us to understand. Because once I don't know, you don't have subtitles, because it happens to me. So that's the reason why I'm telling you. Sometimes I just don't get the things or the words or the sentence. So I try to put subtitles and it's fine. But when I don't have the subtitles, I sometimes I spend a hard time trying to guess. So
Well,
yeah, I don't know, because I've been trying to listen, the accent, so I can get to understand what they're saying and they're talking about. So I don't know if I have improved, because it's like I just don't get to see a full series without subtitles and understanding.
for how long have you been learning English?
um, like 5 years, but I've never been outside of Colombia. So that is the reason why I've been watching series. And of course, I have Ipo. Thank you, Ipo. She's a really good teacher. And, I have Simone and Daniel, and we can, talk to each other in English, and that's fine. But, we cannot just talk all the time, all day. So we get to do different things to learn. So, yeah.
Oh, I think your English is amazing. And if you didn't speak English, we wouldn't be communicating because I don't know Spanish. So, for me, you were fluent in English. It's really good. I can understand everything you're saying. Uh, and about series and subtitles, for me, because like I said before, I worked with English all the time from 2020 behind. Now, since 2021, I haven't practiced English only with people when we talk, and we talk very little. So, my English is, I feel like I'm forgetting words. I make a lot of mistakes. So, the only way I find to practice is watching series. And for me, I like watching it in English with the subtitles also in English. And when I don't know a word, I look it on translator, or I try to go back and try to understand what they mean. But I like listening it in English and also reading it in English,
Mm,
because when it's translated, they change not the meaning. They leave the meaning, but they change the words.
yeah.
So it makes sense in our culture, in our language. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Paola, for sharing your valuable time and insights with us today. It's been an honor to learn more about your journey, wishing you continued success in all your endeavors. Once again, thank you for your contributions.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you, Simon. Bye bye.